Hey, John Riley, I am now, and I appreciate you tipping me off. So that video you just saw was taken at the Navy Yards in D.C., where on October 31st, Halloween, hundreds of 14 to 18-year-olds had gathered, mainly peacefully, especially in the beginning of the night, but gathered at the Navy Yards, and then fights started to break out between some of the teens. People started to spill over out of the sidewalks onto the streets, had started to obstruct traffic. And that is when the Metropolitan Police Department rolled in, and then the National Guard came in to help them as well. That is a federal area. So, as you may know by now, DC is a different animal when it comes to the National Guard. Trump has a lot more control of the National Guard in that area. It is a federal area, and National Guard can protect federal areas. So Navy Yards is part of that situation. And they were there. They did not arrest anybody. They cannot arrest anybody. They can detain people for if there are personal attacks or threats of violence or acts of violence between people. They can detain them, and then they immediately have to turn them over to the police. So if you see people start to say, like, the National Guard is cracking down, they're just arresting people, I would have you know that these types of incidents with these teens have happened since May, going on for a period of time. There's now a curfew in effect, but this has happened before, and the National Guard is allowed to go in and help and support. This is a federal space. They can do that. In D.C., it is not a state. So just be aware that there will be a lot of talk about this, and they'll push it, especially the right wing, and say, what a, bunch of chaos is taking place in DC. Again, teens going after teens, getting into fights late at night on a weekend. I hate to say it, but it happens all over the country in certain spaces. It is not the city falling apart. And don't let them paint it that way, please. Like, we're better than that. They will try to paint it. They will do the whole security thing. And thank God the National Guard was there at Trump's behest, to go ahead and stop this. You'll notice that some of the National Guard are chasing a few people, especially if there had been an altercation between them and a police officer or a National Guard member. But a lot of them are just, most of them are just milling about in the middle while the police break up the fights. And again, started peacefully, then descended into some fights later in the night. The police and the National Guard went in to disperse people by 11 o'clock at night. It was all broken up. So something that has happened between teens since I think May, and in previous years as well. So yeah, it's kind of an ongoing thing that happens. They're working on it. They've got the curfew right now to take care of that. This is one central location, the Navy Yards, where all these teens have gathered on certain occasions. 5 were arrested. One was arrested, an 18-year-old, for having a knife. One was arrested for marijuana. A couple for failure to or resisting arrest. And I can't remember what the 5th one was. But just be aware of that. Keep it in context. It's a different space in DC. There is more latitude for the National Guard to go in there and to support the police in multiple areas. It is not Portland, it is not Chicago, it is not Los Angeles, where they have governors. DC is not a state. So, and again, if you watch that video, the National Guard isn't in there cracking skulls. Please. Okay, so don't let people throw that around, and that the National Guard is like all of a sudden coming after people. They're not. They were supporting police while dispersing teens who had been fighting in the Navy Yards. Okay, thanks.